afternoon, everybody. My name is Molinelli, and I'm a senior account manager at Qualchem. If you don't know who we are, we're a chemical manufacturer. And there's a ton out there. Just one of the many bunch. You guys, okay. So the topic I selected, and I'll repeat it, is how many products does it take to wash a car? Realistically, you'd be correct if you said one. You can take some soap, put it in a bucket of water. You can scrub your car down on the driveway, rinse it off, let it dry, and you got a clean car. But in the context of what we do in the tunnel industry, the in-bay industry, it takes a little bit more than one product. So that still begs the question, though, how many products does it optimally take to wash your car? One of the reasons we selected this question is over the past few years, we've seen the number of products rise to a number that we believe is kind of unacceptable. There's been more products I've been finding in back rooms for the past 2 or 3 years. The number of products just keeps rising. So here I am as a chemical rep telling you, you should probably buy less products. Kind of sounds crazy, but it's true, and let me explain why. So let me start by asking you guys this. If you're a car wash owner or operator, how many of you guys know how many products you guys have? You know? You guys know? Do you guys know how many applications you have in your tunnel or in bay? Roughly? Okay. So a good rule of thumb, if you want to know if you're winning or losing really, is take the ratio of products to applications, and you should have less products than you do applications. If you don't, then your chemical supplier is most likely winning the game, if you want to look at it in that point. So I have the privilege on a weekly basis to travel around the country and visit a lot of the top operators in the world. Massive sites that are busy every single day doing crazy numbers. And then you walk into those back rooms and you take a look at things and you count the products, and they're only using 8 or 9 products. And then I go to these new builds that are fresh out, built by some of the big box suppliers, and you walk into the back rooms and they're using 25, 26 products. But do we really need all these products? That's really the question. And what we're trying to do here is explain to you why we feel you really don't need those questions. This topic is kind of one of the little things that the best operators in the country do. But the other operators that are just kind of learning how to do things don't really think much about. So let's dig in. So I want to dig into the benefits. I mean, they might be obvious to you, they might not. But before we start talking about how to reduce the products in the back room, I think it's important to understand why we want to do this. One of the benefits, right off the bat, it's going to lower your inventory carrying cost. Having less cash in your back room, sitting around, not doing much other than holding inventory, isn't doing you good. That cash can be spent in better ways to help improve your operation on a daily basis. Number 2, it takes less labor to manage. Where time is really of the essence today, it's hard to get labor. Do you really want your managers or your staff members spending hours a week, managing the chemicals in the back room? Number 3, it's going to reduce the space in the back room. As we see more car washes get built every single day, I think I heard Matt Wolf talk about this is a record year for washes going up all across the country. And as the market gets more saturated, I think you're going to keep seeing these back rooms shrink smaller and smaller. And another one is it's going to decrease the frequency of deliveries. I don't know if you guys know this, but freight costs are at an all-time high right now. And it's not going to get any better in the next 12 to 18 months from what we're hearing. And even if you're not paying for freight to deliver your chemistry, it might not show up on the invoice, but trust me, it's somehow backed up into that bill. But last but not least, having less products is going to ultimately reduce your chemical costs. I don't think any of you guys would shy away from getting better margins on your washes. The list goes on, but every little benefit creates some type of efficiency within your organization. And I'm going to be pitching you today on how Qualchem helps you start to use some of these efficiencies in your business. So what makes us different? So you might be thinking all these benefits sound great, but I want to keep all the same applications. I don't want to change my menus. I want to keep everything I got going on in my tunnel. I'm doing okay. You know, how am I just going to take a product out and not screw things up, right? So I think to explain this, you got to kind of start back to where we started. We were operators first, and we became a chemical company, and let me take you through that story. So back in 1983, our founder, Joseph Molinelli, came to the United States as an immigrant. He's also a husband, a father, and a skilled chemist. He was looking to start a better life for him and his family. He didn't have much, barely spoke English. He was really determined to do whatever it takes to make sure his family was able to enjoy the freedoms that this country provides. As you can imagine, you know, an immigrant, he needed to find a job rather quickly. After turning his resume over and over again, I mean, I know I've talked to him about this a lot, he didn't have much luck. He could barely speak English. Every interview you'd get, it would be really quick because they really couldn't communicate. And then just a stroke of luck happened. He found a classified ad in the newspaper, called it up. They were looking for a chemist to make car wash chemicals locally. He called him up, and a small company in Ohio took a chance on him. And for the next 10 years, he cut his teeth into making car wash chemistry for this regional company. He really found his passion. He was making new products, he was helping customers, he was selling the products, and he garnered a lot of relationships all across the country. Everything was going well, except for the fact that he didn't have full control of this company. He had a lot of ideas that were shot down. The company wouldn't allow him to go out there and create. So that frustration ultimately led him to leave the chemical company and buy his own car washes. It was this chapter in his life and in his career where the idea of Qualchem came to be. He knew from formulating the chemistry that most of the products used to clean a car were all the same. You use a lot of the same stuff, and no matter what you got in your back room. He knew he could create a system that could somehow consolidate the products into a smaller number of SKUs and give you a flexible and simpler system in the back room. It was then through trial and error at his own car washes where he started to take this idea and work with it. It took a lot of years, but finally he figured out something that really was what the heart and soul of what Qualchem actually is. So I know not a lot of you guys might not know what goes into the chemistry in the back room. You probably only know a little bit of what your chemical rep has told you. And I'm going to try to kind of bring this into English as much as I can, so hang with me here. So the formulation of conventional car wash detergents really has 4 components: water, surfactant, solvent, and builders. And I'm going to kind of go through these and explain what each one is, just so you guys can help understand just car wash chemistry as a whole. Let's start with surfactant. I'm going to start with builders. Let's start with the power of the detergent. Builders. There's really 2 types of builders. If you guys know, you guys have heard pH before, but builders sit on either type of the pH scale. You have acids and you have alkali products. Alkaline solutions on the high pH side are used to clean organic soils and are most commonly found at the front end of your car wash. So applications such as wheel cleaners, bug cleaners, maybe mop bucket soap, pre-soaks, stuff to that extent. Low pH on the other side is more found on the second half of your tunnel after all the high pH cleaning is done. Low pH cleans the inorganic soils, also helps finish your car before the drying process starts. Some of the common low pH products are lubrication soaps, maybe a second step pre-soap, or a lubrication soap. So the next type of ingredient that goes into car wash solutions after builders is surfactants. A great way to think about surfactants are what creates your suds, okay? Dawn dish soap is primarily a surfactant in its own. That's kind of a layman's example to kind of bring you guys here with me. But if you really want to dig a little bit deeper, it's actually a cleaning active agent. A cleaning active agent that creates foam and has lubrication, adds lubrication to the detergent. The builders will help direct the surfactant to pick and choose what soils it's attacking. So you have surfactant and we have builders. The last component that actually is of substance is solvent. Solvent has two functions within the chemistry. It's going to help hold everything in solution. If you think of salad dressing, right? If you added some solvent in there, it's kind of going to help bind your vinegar and whatever else is going into that solution. And the other function that it provides is it's going to help clean those tough soils. A lot of those, it'll dissolve, right? Solvent dissolve, right? It's going to help dissolve those road grind films along with the builders and the surfactants all mixed together. The last ingredient is water. Almost every single product out here on the show floor that you've learned about is going to have some type of water in it. It's the nature of our business, and it really determines the concentration level of what you're getting in the package. So that kind of sums up what goes into quote-unquote conventional car wash chemicals. Now that we have an okay understanding, I hope I explained that as well as I could, but now that we have an okay understanding of what goes into detergents, let's talk about what Joseph came up with when he started Qualchem and what we do a little bit differently. In the simplest explanation, if you kind of see on the board here, he took one component out and moved it into a separate container. He took out the builders, the acid or the alkali, and moved it to a separate container. And there's three main factors that gives us the ability to do some things at car washes that's pretty neat. The reason he did this, number one, gives us the ability to concentrate our products in the container higher than anybody else on the show floor. If you know anything about builders and surfactants, they don't like to be in the same solution, in the same container. And if you take out the builders, you're able to concentrate both ends to the highest degree. They're not going to fight each other like they would if they were in the same container. So concentration strength is a benefit of separating these out. Number two, it creates a level of flexibility. When we come to your car wash and we create a detergent with our system, the flexibility comes in what you guys are used to. You guys have a dilution station of some sort, whether it's injector base, dosatrons, hydrominders. Because you're used to seeing one product go to one injector, one dosatron, one hydrominder. With the Qualchem system, we actually bring two products up to the same mixing station so we can custom fit the car wash chemistry specifically for your environment, your track speed, your car length, your soil load, etc. And this kind of goes on. And the last thing that Joseph wanted to create, or last factor that went into creating the Qualchem system, really was the simplicity. He didn't like having wheel cleaner 1, 2, pre-soak 1, 2, all in separate drums all across in the backroom floor. And because he knew all the same ingredients were in all that stuff, just at different levels of concentration. So that's where the consolidation and the simplification kind of came in. So on the board now is Qualchem's three main products. Q-Clean, which is our surfactant solvent blend, where your lubrication, your foam level is directed to. And then we have the high pH builder and the low pH builder. Enhance high and enhance low. This is the heart and soul of what our company does. These three products, it's really what makes us who we are. So this Qualchem cleaning system, only three products, we create a multitude of products. Kind of put a little list up here so you guys can get an example. 3 drums create bug spray, mop bucket soap, high pH pre-soak, low pH pre-soak, lava foam, low pH wheel cleaner, low pH lubrication soap, just general neutral lubrication soap, prep gun soap, triple foam conditioner. I could actually name probably 5 or 6 more that it could create in your wash. And depending on what you have, I mean, realistically, those 3 products can take place of 11, 12, 13, 14 different applications in the back room. It's kind of to sum some of the things up. I think you guys learned a little bit about what we do. You learned a little bit about detergents. Kind of want to tell you guys a little bit of a story that happened to us at Qualchem early in 2021. So a few months ago, we got a call from a prospective client. They've been in the business for a lot of years, mainly in the in-bay automatic and self-serve space, and they just started to make a transition to start building express exterior tunnels. They were partnered up with a local supplier, and that local supplier was building their washes, setting up their tunnels, giving them a chemical program to kind of run for their new tunnels. It was a new space for them, so they were leaning on them for a lot of education and how to run tunnels. When I first talked to him on the phone, I really couldn't figure out why he was calling me. I mean, he's heard about our chemistry before, but he really wasn't telling me what the problems he was having, and he wasn't telling me much about, what he wanted to do with the chemistry. He just wanted me to come down and take a look. So I remember that first time I pulled up to that express site, it was a couple weeks after he called me. He was checking all the positive boxes. He had a great site, great layout. Getting into the wash was very easy. The marketing was on point. The menu was well built. His branding was awesome. And then I went through the wash. The show was great. Foam level was there. It smelled good. The lights were flashing everywhere, a lot of different colors. And then after the wash, I kind of got out of the car and looked at my car just to kind of check it out, see how it came out. And it was actually probably about the same quality. It's pretty average. Your express exterior car wash, they're all over the place now. It's kind of just on that same quality level, and they were doing fine. And so I was still scratching my head trying to figure out, what am I doing here? I wonder what the problem is. So we walked into the back room, and as I do as a chemical rep, we're trying to, survey the land, as you could say. And I'm writing down the number of applications, and I'm writing down all the products. He had 22 different applications in his back room, but he had 26 different products. Like I told you before, the ratio of applications to products, that was a little backwards there. So from that standpoint, I knew that's something that we could fix. I had that in the back of my mind. And then I started asking him questions. Said, so what's going on here? Why are you having problems? And he said, it's like, really, I can't manage my back room right now with all these products. I keep ordering, I'm placing orders for 5 of these, and I'm receiving 1 of these. I'm receiving 2 of these, and they're giving me some other product that's not supposed to there because they can't supply me with, this and that. He's like, now I got all this product I don't know what to do with, and it's more money sitting in my back room than it should be. It's like, I really just want a simple solution so we can take less time worrying about our back room, and I can focus on my next bill. He had 2 more going up at the same time. So after I looked at everything, and we kind of decided that we're going to come back and do a trial, we came back and did a trial, a few weeks later. We got everything set up. We raised the quality of his car. But in the end, Volchem went in there, which he had 26 products before. We got him down to 14 products. And to this day, he's been very happy. He's been able to focus on his new builds. We've installed the next 2 tunnels with our chemistry, and he couldn't be happier. There's countless stories like this that Volchem has helped, customers all across the country. And I just want to share that with you because that's kind of who we are. We started with operations. Joseph was a car wash operator before he started this chemical company, and we really live true to our values there. We want to help you guys. Volchem was built for car wash operators by car wash operators. That's kind of our motto. And we just want to let you know we're here to help you guys. That's about it. Does anybody have any questions?